We are recording. Okay, let's get things going. So, welcome to the April Achilles Connect Zoom. As a reminder, this is the once a month opportunity that we all gather and we talk about some upcoming events and other things happening in the Achilles Nation. We do this because some people like learning via email. Other people, myself included, prefer not to learn via email. And so, this is the way where we can kind of auditorily communicate. At any point, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. Chandler will run through those, kind of intermittently. And so, yeah, any questions you have about upcoming events or anything we discuss, or even things we have not discussed, drop them in the chat, and we'll get things going. So, first of all, first major win that I want to highlight is our first away triathlon of the season, managed by Chandler. It was in Galveston, Texas. For those who don't know, Galveston, Texas is near Houston, Texas. It's about an hour eastward, right? Southward, same. It's an hour some direction away from Houston, Texas. It's an island for those, well, right? It's an island. When we rolled up, by the by, we rolled up to the Airbnb and the house, which was amazing, chosen by Chandler. So well done, Chandler. It was raised up on sticks, and that's like tornado country. So I don't know about y'all, but I don't know if I like the idea of a house being raised up on pillars in tornado country. Now, granted, right, it is a flood zone. Yes, it is definitely tornado country because my flight out was delayed about 8 hours due to a tornado that was going through the opposite side of Galveston or the opposite side of Houston. So it is definitely tornadoes. There are tornadoes around there. But because it's an island, I guess it also floods. And so they raise the house up on sticks, I guess, to avoid the flooding in detriment to the tornadoes. So I don't know. I guess pick your poison, right? Do you want to sleep in flooded waters, or do you want to be in lifted Dorothy style in a tornado? So I don't know. That regardless, that was our first triathlon of the season, the 70.3, which is, for those who don't know, that's a half Ironman distance, 1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike, and 13.1 mile run. The swim was canceled, but that is because, see aforementioned tornado force winds and raining and all that stuff. So that was last Sunday. We had four athletes. We had four athletes participate, which is very cool that we have athletes that are able and willing and interested and excited to do that type of distance, because not everyone wants to do that type of distance. We had Wendy from New Jersey, and here in NYC, we had Andrew, Simon, Lamar. And their guides. Cool. So that's Galveston. Fast forward, sort of related to triathlon, we are launching the 2025 Tandem Bike program, which is also very exciting. By the way, my first time on a tandem was with a guy named Roy Katzman, who was the guide of Simon at this Galveston race. And so my first time on a tandem bike, I joined Achilles in spring of 2017. And about 2 months after I joined Achilles, I met up with Sarah Heller, who some of you know, on the walk from the bus to Engineers Gate. And so I'm walking with Sarah, I'm meeting her for the first time, and she's telling me that I should sign up for the triathlon program. So I sign up, I show up to the first tandem bike workout. I had not been on a bike before that, much of any. And so I forgot the whole thing where the bike is supposed to lean when it goes around the turn. And so I kind of freak out on Roy. Roy is cool, calm, and collected. And so he gets us, we survived the ride. He has not ridden with me since then. It's been about 8 years. But yes, if you show up to tandem bike training / rides, which you should, because they are ongoing now, every Tuesday evening and Saturday mornings in Central Park, you should sign up in Rosterify for tandem biking. If you are a pilot, as in someone who is a guide who wants to guide a tandem bike, we typically call them tandem pilots. because you're kind of piloting the ship that is the tandem bike. We have trainings to teach you how to do that. So you don't need to know how to ride a tandem to begin with. We will train you in everything you need to know. And if you are an athlete with disability, any disability, you should ride with us, whether you're on a tandem bike, a hand cycle, a racing wheelchair, any sort of bike that is adaptive. Our next triathlon, by the way, is April 27th. That's the indoor Mighty Man triathlon. And it's in Long Island, and we're going to drive people out to that. But it's indoors, which means it is a lower lift way to experience triathlon because you're swimming in a pool instead of the open ocean or bay or lake or anything like that. You're swimming in a pool, and then the bike is outdoors, and then the run is obviously outdoors. So it's kind of that was actually my first way, like my first introduction to triathlon actually was through an indoor triathlon back in the day. We used to do them at Chelsea Piers, which was a really fun way to do it. You just hope that your spin bike is calibrated correctly if it is a spin bike, because you're going to otherwise be pedaling for a really long time and not going very far. But you don't have to worry about that in this case because the bike is outdoors. So yes, sign up in Rosterify. Tandem bike rides are starting every Tuesday evenings, every Saturday mornings, similar with tandem pilot training. No tandem riding experience needed as a prerequisite, by the way. Okay, next, why don't we touch on the Boston Marathon real quick? So for those who don't know, the Boston Marathon is a thing. It is my second favorite marathon ever because number one is obviously NYC because, know your roots. And so the Boston Marathon is always on a Monday. And so it's Monday, April 21st this year. And we have a team of about 85-ish people doing it, which is a fantastic number because Boston, unlike any other marathon, you need to qualify even if you're a person with a disability to do Boston. And so for an example, if you're someone who is blind or low vision and you want to run Boston Marathon, there's two divisions. There is a open division, which is called the adaptive division. These are all BAA, Boston Athletic Association nomenclature. There's an adaptive division, which is the open division. And then there is what's called the para division, which is their elite division where there's prize money and podiums and things like that. And it's a little confusing if you're getting into it in the beginning because for all of us, right, when we hear para, we think disability. So all of us are technically para, but at Boston, para is not all disability. It's only a certain disability. But anyway, if you're someone who's blind, just an example, right, to give you an example, to qualify for the adaptive, the open division, you have to run any qualifying marathon under 5 hours. If you want to qualify, and that's as a blind or low vision, a classified, verified blind or low vision male, it's under 5 hours. And if you want to qualify for the para division, that's the elite division, it's don't quote me on it, it's like plus or minus a couple minutes, but it's like 3 hours and 48 minutes, give or take. And so we have a team of about 85-ish people head into Boston. That's Monday, the 21st of April. And it's my favorite marathon weekend because the marathon is on a Monday. It gives us an extra day of activities. And so we have team dinners on the weekend. We take athletes to Fenway, to take them to the Sox game on Sunday. And so it's just a really, really team building and team bonding experience. And so even if you're not going to run Boston, download the BAA app, track some of your athlete friends, some of your guide friends. It's going to be a great time. I am not doing Boston this year. I've done it the previous 3 years, but I'm not doing it this year. And instead, I'm doing something a little wacky where there is this thing called the Paul Revere Relay Race, where you run the Boston Marathon course, but you run it backwards. And so I'm doing that the evening before the race, and more info to come on that. I'm excited to tell you all about how it goes. Hopefully we don't get run over by anything because it's going to be at nighttime. And then the last event I want to tell you about is the indoor marathon relay that is still open to registration. Just a little bit of a couple facts about it. The deadline to input your interest to do the indoor marathon relay that's in Washington Heights, in NYC. That's the Saturday, April 26th, Saturday morning, right? Is it? Yeah, Saturday morning, April 26th. Um, we only have 3 teams, right? And it's 8 athletes per team. And so what we've done is there's a shift open in Rosterify that the deadline to apply for that shift is April 16th. So 10 days before the race, that is your deadline to apply and put in your interest. After the 16th deadline, we are going to see all of the athletes who are interested in racing, and we're going to try to break those athletes apart into those 3 teams of 8 people. The catch with all of this is we are part of a long day of relay marathon attempts. And each team only gets 4 hours to do this. So we need to figure out, do some math on the back end and figure out which athletes, what teams, with the goal of a 4 hour finish time, right? And again, with the goal of including as wide a range of athlete as possible, right? So for example, if you're an athlete who wants to walk, we'll have at least one walking athlete per team. There's going to be some run walk athletes per team. There's going to be, each team will have one person who's doing, 5-minute miles. Like, it's going to be a range, and we're going to try to do as wide of a range as possible per team, but we won't know what that looks like. All you need to do is just keep those 2 dates in mind. Saturday morning, April 26th, that is the race date. And if you're available to do that, and if you're interested in doing that, sign up in Rosterify, either as an athlete or as a guide. The deadline for the Rosterify sign up is 10 days before that, April 16th. And once you're signed up, it'll close. We'll figure out the math on our end, and we will notify people if they are accepted or not, or if they're chosen or not, shortly after the 16th, which is when it closes. And the other thing that I want to call out, 2 things. May 4th is a Fibro bike tour. We don't really need to talk a lot about that because we've already discussed that in the past. It's a bike ride through the 5 boroughs of New York City. That's May 4th. May 2nd to the 4th is the Abilities Expo. And this is in Edison, New Jersey. I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you have not attended the Abilities Expo at all ever, that you give it a visit, because there are some very wacky, interesting devices there. Just to throw out a couple examples, there's like a therapy plate where it's basically a big rocker plate you stand on, and it vibrates your entire body at however many thousands of hertz per second, and it just shakes you like nothing else. And it sounds really weird, but you step off of that thing feeling absolutely amazing. It's the weirdest feeling ever. They have talking parrots, like talking as in birds, as in parrots. There are talking parrots that you can actually interact with and like hold. And I don't remember the reason behind the talking parrots, if it was like a speech aid or an emotional support parrot. I'm not quite sure, but regardless, there is a vendor there with talking parrots, and there are, bedazzled glam canes. There's massage devices. Like, it's a whole range of things. And it's just like, if you've never been to a marathon expo or anything like that, it's just a big open area with a whole ton of booths and tables set up. It is free. It's free to attend. Achilles will have a table there. But I would just show up. That's Edison, New Jersey, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And just show up. Just take a train out, or drive out there. It's a fantastic time. So without further ado, those are the updates. Are there any questions? Anyone want to drop any questions? Chandler, hit me.
Denise wants to know who the point of contact is for Tandem.
That's Chandler.
Yes, the Tri-Achilles email.
Yep. Tri Achilles, TRI Achilles at achillesinternational.org is the triathlon team email address. And if you forget that, just email NYC and they can forward it along or sort it out, or just remind you what it is. What else?
Mm, we have a question from Evan about whether or not you can chase people at the relay.
Evan, the only thing you could chase are your goals in life, my man. As long as those goals are good goals.
That's all we got.
All right, all right. No more questions. No more questions. We'll shut this down early then if there's nothing else. Yeah, get if you're not if you haven't communicated with anyone about Hope and Possibility and wanting to register for that as an athlete, do that sooner rather than later. And that is mainly it. I will see you all next time, probably Thursday, May 1st, but just keep an eye out, and have a fantastic rest of your week. See you around.